Good evening, everyone. My name is Jenelle Riley. I'm so happy to welcome you to this SAG-AFTRA Foundation conversation. Thank you so much for being here. This is an audience of actors, which I love because you guys applauded at the casting director's name. That was really cool.
You bet.
And I have to point out that 2 years in a row, they've given you a SAG award for Best Ensemble for movies that went on to win Best Picture.
Yeah. How about that? Well, they were good ensembles. So
You are known for good odds. This movie has an amazing ensemble.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the secret to that?
The Paper was good ensemble. I've been in Quentin's movies. Jackie Brown. I mean, I've been in a lot of them. I like it. It's good to be in the company of a really good actor. It's good to be in the company of actors, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Were you familiar with the story of Ray Kroc before the script came to you? Had you even heard of Ray Kroc?
Well, yeah. I think everybody thinks they know. They say Ray Kroc, and there are a lot of things like this actually, where you think you know what something is, and then when you think again, you realize, I don't know anything about this. You think you know what Ray Kroc. If you ask the average person, you'd say, Ray Kroc, who he is, and people go, yeah, he's like the McDonald's guy, and you go, yeah, but be more specific. And like somebody should have asked during the debates, by the way. But anyway, be a lot more fucking specific. But you say, yeah, he started McDonald's, and I would have been one of those people. Mm-hmm. And then you realize that I didn't know that there were McDonald's brothers. I didn't realize that it happened here in Southern California. It's a really interesting story, to say the least.
It's a crazy story. It kind of almost has to be true, because otherwise I don't think I would believe it.
Well, it is true, but there's 3 acts or 2 acts or whatever, however you break down your movie, and you, or 4 or 5 acts, I guess, and you have to tell a story, and you have to adjust to the amount of time on the screen. You know what I mean? There's a little flexibility in those things, but it's true. It's essentially what happened is what you saw on the screen.
And you've obviously played real people before, most recently in the Best Picture winning movie Spotlight last year. I'll just keep mentioning that as much as I can. In a way, you have resources to draw on, but at the same time, does it add this extra responsibility knowing you're playing someone who has family out there? Yeah,
you do. You have to be responsible, and but you can't. But you have to be responsible. But you have to be responsible to the project and the story and what I always call the painting. The director has a painting, and you have to say, okay, where do I fit into that? Where am I in that? How do I contribute to the telling the story? So you got to be true. You have a responsibility. Well, I just said it. You have a responsibility to those folks, but you've got a responsibility to the project and the piece. And it's a little trickier when someone's alive, I suppose. But it's kind of like they're not home, so we can, go check out the refrigerator. But you don't have. I always say that in ways it's easier because you have the answers to the test. Mm-hmm. You're given the answers to some degree. Now you got to just make sure you put them in the right places, and then there are other things, and other conditions, and in this, and I suppose another with Robbie's sitting right here, Robbie Robinson from Spotlight, and like Robbie will call me. I just emailed Robbie, and we're pals, and that's a different thing. I didn't really know anything about Ray Kroc, and I only wanted to know what I needed to know, because really what you want to do is, I want to do in most situations, to get the essence, because frankly, this isn't really a biopic, really. It's a story about the free enterprise system, about America, about immigration. I mean, literally, I love that scene where he talks about his name in the end. Yeah. He goes, I could never be that. I'm Slavic, and he accepted it. He was like, not self-loathing, but I'm not you. I'm not American. You know, because I just love that we're a country of immigrants. I just love it. I just love that's who we truly are. You know, and underlying this is some of that story. You know, and so what you want to do, or what I want to do, is get the essence and say, well, what is the essence of the guy, and what is the essence of the thing, of what he really is? Because he's representative of something, really. Even though he really was, he's a real person, and he was a giant of a person, really. But I wanted just the essence of it to make the project work.
I so admire that this movie doesn't pull any punches in showing that he could do some not nice things. At the same time, there's a lot to admire about him. I mean, did you find yourself admiring him?
Yeah, first thing I said to John was, yeah, man, damn right I do. He works his ass off. And my favorite thing about him, how much of this is true, is accurate or not. Well, it's true, how, there are degrees of truth, I suppose, but that when he said, I don't really need these country club guys of mine. I'm going out to some guy selling a Bible. I'm going out to some guy working a second job. I'm going to a VFW hall. I want people who are hungry and need the money and are willing to work. I love that about him. My favorite scene in the movie that has almost one of my favorite scenes in the movie. There's no dialogue. It's when those lights are on, that beautiful shot. It's a wide shot, and those arches are kind of glowing. He's all by himself. The parking lot's empty, and fucking Ray's out there sweeping, cleaning that shit. I love that. It's obsessive, it's crazy, but he's driven, and it's not crazy. Actually, it's how you're supposed to be. It's how you're supposed to work. And it's not really It's not a biopic. It's about a thing. It's about an idea, really.
And I'm curious. I know there was documentary footage that you were able to watch, and you also, I believe, drew on some inspiration from your own family.
Well, my brother was, my brother, who is, his saving grace is he's funny. Because they're all funny. My brother and sister, we have a big family, there's 7 of us, and we break down politically, Like I say, his saving grace is he's funny. Because sometimes I want to punch him right in his fucking face.
That's family.
But he's smart and he's funny, and I love him. So what am I going to do? And I admire him because he taught me. He set a good example. He was the oldest, and I said, say what you will about this guy. He's a hard worker, man. He's a dedicated guy, and he works. And I used him when you go back to my baseline. You go back. You go. I don't know how to play this scene. I just drop back to the baseline and go. Okay, wait a minute. What's the basic thing here? And then you work from there. And he was the guy I would refer to every now and then. And I don't think I totally answered that other question. When I talked to John originally about this, you're right. He's not what's considered a nice person, whatever that is. But I admired Ray Kroc's work ethic so much, and his focus and his when he was in his 50s, by the way, and he already has ups and downs, and he said, no, I'm going after this, and I'm going to do whatever I need to do to go after this, and I'll sacrifice to go after this. After a while, when he basically does, ostensibly, arguably a deal with the devil. Wow, it gets almost sadistic, but the first thing I said to John Lee Hancock was, here's the thing I never do, and I just ain't gonna do it, and I really don't admire it, and I hope I don't practice it. He's the guy, and I'm playing the guy. And if you want somebody who you kind of say, well, he's really kind of, I'm not your guy, because I don't admire it, frankly. I like the actors who I hope I'm. Well, I am this. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Yeah. And if you don't like me, you don't like me. I'm not going to beg you to love me. I'm not going to go, well, but I had cancer, but but I really was not, but I won the game, You go, well, I didn't win the fucking game, I turned into a fucking prick. And then I go, but he wasn't, but that's not all of him. And I go, if you say, we don't like you, Michael, I can't, my job is to tell the story. Yeah. My job is to be an actor.
And it's so much more fun to play complex characters.
Man, I got to tell you, how weird is my job when I look at that line and that scene, and he says, if you were drowning, I'd put a hose in your throat. And I go, yeah, I want to play that fucking job. How weird is my job? Yeah. Well, you look forward to that day when you get to play that scene. I mean, it's weird. And I guess you go, what's it like to, Jesus, what's it like to be that person? And you go, well, there's only one way to find out. You better be that person for the day. And he said that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, that's him. That's Ray. Those are Ray Kroc's words. Wow. So I just don't believe in pulling back, and it's not like you go out of your way, to say I want to play the most horrible person in the world. And by the way, I don't think he's the most horrible person in the world. I think he's pretty damn great up to a point.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, after that, not so much.
And who wants to see a movie about a perfect person? For that matter.
Yeah, it's not. Well, it just wasn't accurate. If it was that he was that other person, that there was some lovable. I'm sure, by the way, in his life, to his wife, he's very lovable. But that's not my job. My job is to not say, please love me. My job's to play the role.
We have a question. I think it's from Ryan Jarek. I hopefully pronounced that right. Preparing for the role, did you find anything interesting or shocking about McDonald's?
Almost everything, and you would think that might not be the case. You would go, well, it's McDonald's, and when you first get the script, you think they're making a movie about what? And then you go, okay, well, I like John Lee Hancock, and then I read it, and I went, oh, this is pretty good writing, and then you start. And you think, holy moly, I didn't know any of this. This is really interesting. One could argue, and it's not really, much of an argument. I think most people would agree that this was really the beginning of branding.
Yep.
And also, my kid pointed this out to me. Like Facebook, Facebook.
Social network?
Social network, which was great. It's pretty much the story of two guys who had an idea and some guy came in and took it. Now that's not quite that simple, and social network is not quite that simple and clear cut, but that's a version of what happened before all this other stuff happened. It was the first branding. We take for granted how we live today, and this has never happened to me before. What I try to do. Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I don't. I guess is I just want to fall in. I want to fall into the guy, whomever I'm playing, comedically or whatever. I just go. I want to get to the truth, and there's nothing but me in the moment in the truth. So when you can accomplish that, it's really pretty thrilling because you're kind of lost for a minute. And so when the scene where I go up, and the first time he said, he wants to see this place, and he sees it and he thinks, my God, what is this place? And then he orders it, like experimenting, and the kid explains to him how it works. In the middle of the scene, and I'm pretty lost in it. I'm in it, and it's as I'm playing it, it hits me, Michael. I go, holy shit! This is a pivotal. This is an amazing thing. Forget the movie I'm making. I totally got how it changed. He looked at this thing and said, "It's food in a bag." It's like, where's the utensils? There are no utensils. It's disposable. We're as disposable a society as you can be. Mm-hmm. We're as portable of a society as you can be. that was revolutionary without anybody knowing it. They go, you don't need anything. You go to your car, you can throw it away. I mean, that's when it hit me right in the middle. I thought, wow, this is it. This is going to change everything. And Ray Kroc saw it. Mm-hmm. He said, he saw the arches. He went, I got it. I know what this is. Trust me. And, if the story is true, they did experiment with franchising, but it didn't really work. They didn't want to get on the bus. Ray said, I'm getting on the bus. The bus is leaving. You're either on the bus or you ain't on the bus. And I don't know. I don't have a problem with that part.
Well, I mean, as someone who is a purveyor of McDonald's frequently, I'm glad it actually worked out the way it did. Do you get free McDonald's for life now, or
not?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Actually, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Did you do any research though? Like, I mean, it sounds silly, but maybe go to McDonald's or check out.
Well, in retrospect, that might have been better than I thought, because sometimes I want to know a lot and sometimes I don't want to know anything, because the more you know, the more conscious you become, and then your performance becomes kind of a conscious thing. But frankly, here's what happened. Once I said I'm in, I said I better do some work on this, because some things require, in my opinion, for me anyway, require research. Some things do not. This, you had to kind of do some. Anytime you play a real person, I think you're obligated to know what the hell you're talking about or who you're supposed to be. Honestly, I got it as soon as I watched. There was a really simply done documentary on him, and surprisingly, there are not hardly any documentaries about this guy or McDonald's, really, except for the one that was done recently. And that was really about Fast Food Nation. I kind of got it. I went, got it. I think I know what the job is. Also, I got it in terms of what's supposed to happen in this movie. Not just specifically who deep down Ray is, and more, well, why does Ray Kroc represent what this thing is, and how does Ray Kroc represent what this thing is, and who is he? So I saw this documentary, and then of course you start reading about him, and then you're fed stuff constantly. People go, did you know that McDonald's ... And you read it and you go, holy shit. So the information was coming in as we were making the movie.
Was there anything you found that was like so crazy you wanted to work it into the movie, but you just couldn't, or maybe people wouldn't believe it?
Besides the formula to the secret sauce?
Do you know that? Because
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like Thousand Island dressing, right?
Basically, yeah.
Mystery solved.
Yeah, exactly. Thousand Island dressing with a whole lot of mayonnaise. That's pretty much. No, not really. It just kept unfolding, and it was getting more and more. Well, he bought the Padres. He owned the San Diego Padres for a long time.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and I guess he was fairly hammered one night and apologized to the fans. Just came on, I'm fucking sorry. We suck. He came out and just said, I'm really sorry, which I thought, took a lot of courage to say, hey, man, honestly, you should take your money back because we just are horrible. There was nothing. I admire Joan, hey, man, gave a ton of money to NPR and some other great causes, and you just hipped me to the fact that the family has this apparently very beautiful
$40 million complex.
Yeah,
just opened in Oregon.
For is it handicapped
it's
kids
like
or
underprivileged
kids up in Oregon?
Yeah, my parents just told me about it. They said it's amazing.
That's pretty great.
So they think Ray Kroc is a great guy.
Yeah, yeah. Are they going to think so after they see the movie?
I don't know. That's why they asked. They were like, "Should we see this?" And I was like, I was like, it's not a hatchet job. You'll see what there is to admire.
I think
about
it's
this man.
fair.
It's very fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad that John. So when I said to John, I'm not interested in the other thing, and he, saying, well, let's kind of sugarcoat it. He stood by his word. He did what I asked, and he didn't didn't pull back, I don't think.
But it is still like an inspiring movie about
It's
the
a
American
very
dream.
inspiring movie. It's a very inspiring movie, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's inspiring in that I don't have a problem with the free enterprise system at all. I don't really have a problem with capitalism at all. I have a problem with obnoxious consumerism. I have a big problem with greed. I have a huge problem with greed as it affects... call me nuts. I'm a fan of fairness. I know I'm crazy. But, so I got a big problem with inequity. Always have. And as far as capitalism, is guilty of that, I'm not a fan. But I got no problem. I want everybody to be billionaires. I don't give a shit. When you're a billionaire like Bill Gates, I'm down with that. That's okay with me. You know what I mean? And he, he's done a lot of good in this world. And so it's very inspiring, the conceit is inspiring, just if you don't judge any of it, if you throw all that out the window and say it's just a story, it's an interesting story, and John and Hancock and I were hanging out the other night. I hadn't seen him in a long time. I'm making this movie and I'm not in the country, and I like him. So I said, let's go out and, we would get together while we were making this movie, and when we had any time, we'd go down and, would meet, would have dinner and hang out and have a few laughs, and then get up, go to work in the morning, talk about the next day's work. And I called him, I said, what are you doing? Let's go hang. And his wife was out of town. He said, I'm totally free, let's go talk. And I said, things keep becoming like exposed about this movie that I think about, and something that hit me the other day. This is a bit of a Billy Wilder movie. This is not, as you've seen it. It's not a giant spectacle. It's not a Marvel movie. It's not it's not one of those big things, and it's not a little quirky little art movie. It's what movies. There aren't many made where you say, I just want to make this movie. Mm-hmm. I just want to tell the story. I just want to go make this movie. It's a movie, it's a story, it's a film. And there are as many around as you think. And I said to him, this has an element, without sounding too pretentious, of what Billy Wilder made. You look at a Billy Wilder movie and you go, God, this guy was great. Look how witty and fabulous these people are, and how quirky, and how his filmmaking is so good, and it wasn't that fun. And then 10, 15, 30 years later, you see that movie and you look at it and you go, whoa, there's a lot of shit going on in a Billy Wilder movie. There's a whole lot of stuff going on in Billy Wilder movies, like that. Some of those stories, David knows this stuff, about what he really wanted to do in certain movies. With some scenes that they
very
had to take
subversive.
Out. Whoa, man! And not that this is so. Well, it is subversive, but there's stuff going on, and that's always the fun thing to me. You just sit back and enjoy, and then kind of go, "Wow, there's some stuff going on." And I like the ending. I like the ending, like I love the Birdman ending. I like it.
Well, let's talk about that Birdman ending.
All right.
So what happened there?
I'll tell you what happened there. He came in. Alejandro came in, and he said, "Cabron, I gotta talk to you about this thing. I got this thing, and I want to tell you, but I can't talk now. But I'll write it, and I'll show you tomorrow." Okay. And he goes, and I go, cool. And he goes, and he comes up to the dressing room, and he kind of started to kind of insinuate where he might be going, because there were a couple scenes that were rewritten along the way. You couldn't do too much because it had to be so specifically set and choreographed that there couldn't be too many changes, but there were some changes along the way as he was rewriting. And then he wanted to write it, and he insinuated some things, and I started thinking about it, and I had like a flash of something, and I thought, well, he's probably not going to do that with the ending, but that may be kind of cool. And then it left my mind. Mm-hmm. Then he comes up and he sits down and he starts reading, the pages, and he looks at me and he's reading the dialogue, and I go, I think I know where he's going to go with this. My hand to God, this is what I thought. And I go, oh, please, I hope this is where he's going, because that could be pretty cool, but he's not going to do that. That's what he did.
Wow.
Now, I didn't know exactly, I didn't know exactly how the scene, but I kind of had a feeling about what he was going to try to do, because he thinks like that. He's, he tends to be, he's an artist. There ain't nothing he can do about it. He thinks in terms of poetry. He thinks in terms of abstraction. He is. He's just built like that.
So you died, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm basically saying. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you knew. No, I thought, yeah, I'm that's perfect for me.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. Yeah. I mean, and there'll be some kid, who's 13 now, and when he's 24, he's going to go, oh yeah, I dug this movie, I want to see it again. And he's going to go, oh yeah, I forgot about the ending thing. I just like that. Yeah. I like that it's out there and you can discuss it or not discuss it. That's
Billy Wilder too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. We have a question from Chris O'Reilly for Mr. Michael Keaton. Wants to know, given how the industry has changed since you started, what advice would you give to an up-and-coming actor in this specific day and age?
Really good question, and I'd say the basics are the same. The basics are the same. The business has for sure changed. And you have to be really, really practical about it and really realistic about it. There's a friend of mine who walked away from it, went home, said, I don't want to do this anymore. I need to have an income every week or every month. And I admired him as much as my friends who pounded it and stuck it out and kept on going, because he knew what he was. He knew what he wanted. He said, I like it. Maybe I don't love it. I got a family, and I'm going to go get a check every week. And I thought, good for fucking you. That's as honest and practical as you can be. And I also say it for the people who don't. So if you love it, there ain't no choice. But I believe in the practicality of it. I believe in making yourself happy, and doing what the thing is you're supposed to do. But while you're doing it, the only thing I can possibly say, and I don't even know that I know what I'm talking about, but I always just say, there's a room and there's one person in it somewhere, there's 150 people in it somewhere, or there's 4,000 people in it somewhere, or there's 11 people in it somewhere, and there's a little box you can stand up on in front of and be willing to make a fool of yourself, always do it. Always do it. Don't think about it, just go do it. And don't think about, well, is it going to get me anywhere? Am I going to get on YouTube? Just go fucking do it, and don't think about it. Don't think about it and look foolish. Look as foolish as you can possibly look foolish. Look dumb. Run the risk that somebody's going to say, you're horrible. Run the risk. I'm telling you, because once you go through that, I see people and they talk about rejection now in other walks of life. I go, rejection? I got a rejection. Rejection don't mean dick to us, man. Rejection is just a thing. It's just a thing. It doesn't make you any less. Doesn't make you any less of a human being. I'm not judged by what kind of person I am because you said you weren't good enough. Well, most of the time, if you didn't get a part, you probably shouldn't have gotten the part. Frankly, that's life. That's And I'll tell you another thing. When you audition, the thing that turned things around for me was I never looked at an audition as, I did until this hit me. I went, I'm not going to go into these things anymore the way I used to go into them. When I show up and I got to be at, Radford Studios, when there was Radford Studios, or down, down at Raleigh, or I have to be wherever, at 4, I'm going to work at 4. I'm not asking for the job. I have the job. That job, that's where I'm going. I got to be there at 4, from 4 to 4:12, or I'm going to work. And so I would leave and going, am I hired or not? I was already hired. I just left work. It's 4:13. I'm done. So once that was it wasn't like, I hope I get it. I went, I can't live like that. I just got to go, no, I already got the job. I just did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was your performance.
Yeah.
We have a question from Estefania Rebellion. I hope I got that right. This film focuses on opportunity. What would you consider was the greatest opportunity you got when you started your career as an actor?
Oh man, so many, and I got to say, a lot of them I made, because I didn't really know anybody when I came here. I knew one guy, and when I think about it, I don't know what I was thinking. I honestly don't know what I was thinking. But I don't know why I thought this would ever work. Thank God I was stupid enough. Really, thank God I was kind of stupid enough. So I thought, well, what's the downside, One opportunity was my friend Charlie was writing for a sitcom, and at the last minute, because I was moving to New York, because I was going back and forth between Pittsburgh and New York, I was working a real job and also doing a play and going to do auditions in New York, and I was getting ready to move, and he said, at the last minute, I called an audible, and I came out here thinking, well, I'll not stay here, but I'm going to listen to what he says. He says, come out here, it's wide open, and then I, of course, did what everybody does, just worked, and nothing was happening, and he said, hey, you ought to come and read for this thing, or meet, I forget what it was, or meet somebody for this sitcom, and I got it. And I think even he was shocked. He went, Jesus. And that, within a week, that led to another gig where they said, ooh, let's make this a two-parter, and let's write this guy into the show. And then the show got canceled, and then that led to another thing and another thing. So someone gave me a chance to at least walk in a door and do something. You know what I mean? So that I call that an opportunity. That were a break, or that was where someone helped me. Mm-hmm. At least he said, I don't know if this means anything, but come and try it. It was a meager thing, but it was a thing. And then I think, you create opportunities, or you try to put yourself in a place where there are opportunities, and then opportunities like how, opportunities at what level, because one job led to another job, led to another job, led to another job. Then there were big dry spots, long dry spots. Then those dry spots were gone, and I was flush. And then, things were fertile, and I was going again. Then there were dry spots, and then and I went. And thank God there were dry spots early on, because I went, oh, I got how this works. I see how this is going to work. And then you went, oh, okay, this ain't going to be easy. And so there were opportunities, and I hate to keep saying, well, I made my opportunities, but I'm a lot like Ray Kroc in a lot of ways, and I just said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to really do it hard, and I'm not going to do things that get in my way or get out of my focus spot, because I'm kind of lazy on one hand, and I thought, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to throw all my energy into it, because if I don't, I'm going to get too lazy, and I just didn't want to get too lazy. So I thought, well, you better burn it hard while you're going after this thing. And so a lot of opportunities I created, but then opportunities led to opportunities, led to opportunities. So then you say, well, opportunities at what level? Because, I was working, and there are some self-imposed lulls, and there are some, we'll decide how the lulls are going to go, Mike. There are some of those. There's some business lulls where I go, we ain't really calling. And that's life, and that's how it goes. So then when a thing like Birdman comes up, that's an opportunity, and you better thread that needle. Because when I saw it, I thought, don't think about career so much. Can you do this? And I thought, whoa, man, this is really, really scary. But I love this guy's movies. He's one of my favorite directors, and so it made me want to do it. That's an opportunity that's like on another level, an opportunity to do something that no one's really done before and might never be done again. That kind of movie making, and if it works, it's gonna be something cinematically. If it doesn't work, you're gonna really look foolish. Like Batman was like that. I thought, boy, that goes down. You're really dumb for a long time. But I bet on me.
Yeah.
And I go, well, you know what? And also I was younger, and I thought, what do I care? Just go do it. But then you go, I think this is it. I'm going. Here's what I'm doing. Here's how I'm doing it. I think this is how to play it. Pretty sure. That doesn't mean it's going to work. And between me and Tim and everybody else, it worked. But I don't know. I think you make a lot of your own opportunities.
And quite the opposite of a dry spell now. You're like one of the busiest actors in the business. Where can we see you next? I know you're, or what can you reveal where we can see you next?
I'm going back to finish this. I came here to do some of this stuff and also to take a short break, handle some stuff. This movie, they call The Long Walk, but it's really American Assassin based on these books. That's been fun. And then I did this thing in Spider-Man that was pretty much fun. And these two guys I worked with recently, I love. And you guys are gonna love, man. They're really good, and they're professional, and they're funny, and their questions when they ask directors are really good actor questions. They're not bullshit. They're like really legitimate questions. This kid Dylan O'Brien and Tom Holland. Yeah, these guys are great, man. These guys are really great. So fun to be around them too. They're young and funny, and they keep you on your toes, and you get to beat them up. It's awesome. I beat guys up that I know can beat me up. And in the movie, I get to beat them up. It's just so great to pretend.
A very important question. I sent you the Beetlejuice joke on Community.
Oh, really?
Yes. I don't know if you ever, I had told you about this. I don't know if you ever saw it.
No.
Where they, over the course of 3 years, said the word Beetlejuice, and then Beetlejuice actually appeared.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know this. Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Talk to Jeff. He has the clip.
Oh, cool.
And, of course, people can see you in December. The Founder opens. It seems like you all liked it, so go pay to see it again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Hey, thanks.
Yes.